the Empire State Building.
Hey, yo, it's Z100, New York's #1 hit music station. I'm Josh Martinez with my guest, Calum Scott. What's going on, man?
I'm so good, man. How are you?
Good. You know, we were talking before we started recording. First time I met you was like early 2017.
Yeah, 17. Yeah.
Something like that, which feels weird because like COVID makes it feel like it was like 4 years ago, but then you realize that COVID was 4 years ago. So it's been 7 years since I last saw you.
Bro, and your beard has had some growth.
It has. It hides the double chin that's been growing under there as well. It's been a while. But how much has your life changed over the last 7 years, dude?
Probably just as much as your beard, bro. I honestly, my life is so vastly different from when I last saw you. I'm still doing the same stuff, but just on totally different levels. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've just literally finished on tour with Ed Sheeran. Clang. And we've been touring around for 6 months in stadiums, and I was saying to the team then that like there are some things in life that you shouldn't get used to, and one of them is playing in stadiums. That is not something a normal person should be getting used to, right? But it's just been so amazing, and I feel like it's helped me grow as an artist, and now I'm bringing out some of my most confident music and collaborating with people left, right, and center, and just loving life, man. I've never been so happy.
Now, let's go back to the stadiums for a second, because you were also hitting countries and continents that maybe you were playing for the first time in some aspects,
for sure.
Right?
100%, yeah.
Was there a city that surprised you, whether it's because like they were singing the music back to you or anything?
Tokyo, actually.
Okay.
Because everybody was saying to me, like, oh, Tokyo's like, you know, they'll be like, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Because they're so respectful, they want to clap, but they're on edge that they want to stop clapping as soon as you speak. They were totally cool with us. They were like singing things back and they were screaming and whooping. I was like, are we even in Japan right now? Like, what's... But it was so cool, man. And it's, I mean, that is a totally different, like, to be a world away from everything that you know and love and experienced, you know, it's so vastly different. But that's what I love about touring the world, man. Even in America, like from East Coast to West and everything in between, it's like there's something different everywhere. I just love touring.
So you mentioned like you don't get used to stadiums, and you shouldn't get used to stadiums.
Shouldn't.
I also feel like you shouldn't get used to people that don't speak your language singing your language to you, and that's the extent of the language that they know. Does like what goes through your mind when you're in like, let's say like Tokyo, and you have people from Japan singing your lyrics back to you?
Yeah, they can't speak a word of English to me, but they can sing you with a reason.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's crazy. I feel very proud that some of the music that I've made has transcended language. You know, because for some reason, like, you know, you go to Indonesia or Malaysia or, you know, where they're not speaking much English at all, and then they're singing all of my words back to me from my songs, and it must be that they have connected to that song to some level where they're like, they need to be able to know how to sing it in English and also like what it means, you know? And that's so powerful, I think, is to have songs that transcend even your mother tongue. It's pretty special, man.
I always get this question a lot, and I'm sure you probably do as well, and your team probably gets it as well. Like, who's the best celebrity you've ever met? My answer is always Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
He is one, like, when you talk about down-to-earth, cool, doesn't take himself serious, that is the dude that is #1. Yeah. How did this whole tour come about?
Well, so I met Ed when he came to a show. I was touring with an artist called Jamie Lawson.
Okay.
So Jamie and Ed were friends from before, and he was on tour, and I was supporting Jamie, and Ed came out for one of the last shows with Jamie, and they sang a song together, and I met him then. It was cool, and I saw him a few times after that in the industry at the Brits, at some award evenings or whatever, and he always remembered me, and I thought that was super cool. I was like, Ed Sheeran remembers who I am. That's so cool. Gushing. And then he had sent me, I had hold of a song that he'd written with David Guetta, and I was going to vocal it, and I sent it to David and to Ed separately, and it was so funny because Ed's like, oh my God, this is so amazing, you sound so great, I'd never expected to hear your voice on this, I'm going to send it to David myself. I got a message back from David saying, how did you get this? Just like the two different worlds.
Yeah.
Like, but Ed stayed in touch. I think I just started emailing him a bunch of like, how's life? How's your missus? How's the kids? And I think I just must have got on that like real normal level with him where he's just like, this guy's cool. And when he announced the tour, I was kind of front and center of his mind. It was, yeah, it's been unbelievable. The last 6 months, just having him as a mentor has just been like crazy.
Isn't it amazing, like the inspiration that you get from people? Like, you know the answer, right? You know what you need to do, but then when you see someone else doing it, it like inspires you to like a different kind of level. Is there anything that kind of has changed your mind over the last few months, whether it's because you saw Ed do it or just being on tour, that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, him bringing me out into stadiums has definitely been a really fast track level to evolving my own artistry. I mean, I was stood at the side of the stage in Dubai, and it was the first round that we've done, and I walked up absolutely cacking my pants. It was horrendous. And then you get up on there, you get up onto stage, you see all those people, you've got nowhere to hide. It's circular, so you literally you can't go to the back of the stage and have a sip of water and be like, Jesus Christ, this is scary. Everyone's everywhere. And that made me really quickly realize that I have to be present and professional the whole time I'm on stage, you know, and I'm visible, so I've got to be dynamic and I've got to work the stage. Like, he's lucky, the stage revolves for him. I got to do laps. I'm wearing my Apple Watch, like I done 2,000 miles today. But I think that made me work harder, and just watching him every night for 6 months, just watching him do what he does, how he connects to 70,000 people is inspiring. But what I was finding that was when I was singing songs like You're the Reason, Dance on My Own, that obviously were big songs for me, people already knew the song. So I was having a taste of that already, which, I mean, makes me feel so proud of what I'm doing, is that, you know, I had 60,000 people knowing the songs, but what made it more special was Ed was like, listen, it would be great to sing the song together. Do you mind taking it out of your set and we'll sing it on mine? And I'm like, bro, 1,000,000%. I'm like, let me just check what. Yes, you can. So he brought me on stage for the last 3 months and we sang the song together, and he did this thing where he's like, just before the last chorus, he's like, I want you to take your headphones out and I want you to just listen to the crowd sing your song. And he would give me that moment every night. And it's very hard to be performing and being present at the same time. It's hard to do the two because you're on autopilot, but geez, man, just sitting back and listening to 70,000 people sing You're the Reason back to me was like some of the most emotional moments in touring history for me.
So I discovered You Are the Reason. Obviously, I heard it when it was first released years ago now.
Yeah.
And then something kind of happened with it on TikTok that I kind of saw it kept popping up again, and all these like cute little videos. Yeah. And I like fell in love with it years later. Yeah. Literally like earlier this year, I want to say.
Yeah.
For you personally, when you see the numbers change because of TikTok, what type of happiness runs through your body? Because it's like, yo, new checks are coming in. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. There's some happiness. There's some distraughtness. There's some like anxiety. TikTok's a weird and magnificent place, right? And I think as an artist, I've only just come to terms with the fact that TikTok is a really important platform for me. I think that there is a certain way to lean in. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Some things are more cringe than others. I did some choreography for my new song Roots. Don't think I'll do that again. All of my friends back home are just like, what the hell was you doing? What the hell were you thinking? But you just got to try things, right? And I think for me, TikTok is interesting because as I'm putting out new music, and I have this song called Roots that's out at the minute, I have a new song coming. One of my songs from my second album that wasn't a single is suddenly starting to have a moment, but not even as an original song, as a sped up, almost like Alvin and the Chipmunks version. And it's just like so crazy that has a moment now, but I guess it just shows you that music isn't linear like it used to be. You know, anything can happen at any time. You know, Kate Bush with Running Up the Hill or whatever. It's like, you literally anything can happen. And that's exciting and terrifying. But I'm just super grateful that I have a strong following on there, and people are discovering me all the time. And yeah, I'm blessed.
So shifting gears to your newer songs that it's not out yet, My World. I saw a snippet on your Instagram yesterday, I believe. I think you posted it, that you kind of talked about quick little backstory behind it, but I just wanted to kind of like have you open up a little more about it. Because obviously when you sit in a studio and a writing session, you have these notes on your phone like we all do or whatever, and then you collaborate with others. How did this particular song kind of come about? Was it as simple as seeing Facebook statuses, as you brought up in the Instagram? Or?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's a song that was more or less done. It came into my inbox. I was like, this song hits differently. It's got like it's just a different way of being able to say I love you, but with this kind of fresh approach in the production and stuff. And look, I'm not scared to not write songs. Dancing on My Own is a perfect example. You know, I haven't got an ego that stops me from being able to take people's songs or ideas and to be able to interpret them in my own way, right? But I just felt like I'd never heard somebody using my world in that kind of context before. And you see people saying it all the time. Oh, my kids are my world, or my missus is my world. And, you know, I just felt like it was such a great song and such a great meaning. And I vocaled it and I loved it. And we changed some lyrics and made it a little bit more personal to me. But yeah, man, it's just one of those songs that you know when you hear something, you're just like, that sounds incredible. You know, it's like Stargazing with Miles. It's like you hear it and you're just like, that's a great song. Benson Boone, same thing, Beautiful Things. It's a great song. And I think this is, for me, when I heard My World, I was like, if I heard somebody else doing this, I would be like, that's a great song. So I'm like, I'm going to put my vocal on it. And so we've brought it out. We're bringing it out, very, very soon. And it's for me, it's a return back to ballads because I've been releasing a bunch of tempo stuff. I've been feeling in the mood for a little bit of tempo and a little bit of fun. And now I want to kind of scale it back and go to something a little bit more deep-rooted and personal and heartfelt and get back to making people cry, bro. I'm missing it.
It's funny you say that because my personal story, real quick, with You Are the Reason, was I was up at like 4 a.m. and I live in New York City. My daughter lives in Ohio, so I'm constantly missing her. She's turning 1 literally in like 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And for some reason, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to cry tonight. Because we all need that in our life where we're like, you know what?
100%.
Yeah, like tonight, I'm just going to cry. And I'm going to schedule this crying
in my
session.
calendar.
And your song is what I decided to go with. And I just had it on loop for like maybe 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 streams. So after that, it was like I just kind of let it out. And,
yeah, man,
and stuff.
it's so important.
Yeah,
it's so important. But you know what? I think for me, whether I'm writing songs that's about love or I'm writing songs about, like, I've written songs about mental health and my own battles, or, you know, whether it's about acceptance or whatever it's about, that is the highest accolade for me, is hearing somebody say, I used your music to feel better. Like, that for me, bro, is better than an Emmy or a Brit or a Grammy or a #1 spot. Like, those things will be great, and you put them on a shelf, and people are like, whoa, that's cool. But if you're using that song to heal and to think about your daughter and to kind of connect, or if you're, you know, you use that song to walk down the aisle or dance your first dance song, or, you know, to say goodbye to your parent or whatever it is, that for me is the pinnacle of songwriting.
Have you seen the YouTube comments on that song in particular by any chance?
On You're the Reason?
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Dude, going through those comments, because like the top one is very emotional, and then so is the second and the third, and then you kind of go down like this little rabbit hole, and you keep going down, and it's like,
yeah,
dude,
bro.
and I'm just someone who's reading it on my phone or on a desktop. I kind of, as like the person who's responsible.
Oh man,
like how does that hit you?
We once did this thing. I once did this. I had a TikTok idea. I'm like, look, I'm gonna open up my YouTube. I'm gonna read some of my comments, trying to find funny, like awful ones that I could just laugh at. Like, you suck and you sound like Donald Duck or like whatever, you know. And I wanted to like laugh at myself. And then I like clicked on You're the Reason. I read through some of those, got emotional. Clicked on another one of my songs called No Matter What, which is like kind of my coming out story, whatever. Reading through some of those, man, I was like on my phone and I was just like blubbing, just reading these really heartfelt comments. Because one thing I've realized as an artist is I've opened honesty as a conversation. I've been like, you know what? I had it hard. I came out. I got abandoned for it. I went back in the closet. I had stresses with my mental health. I had body dysmorphia at some point. I got depressed. I felt suicidal. There's all this deepness that comes with me, right? But then put it into my music, and suddenly people are like, oh my God, that's my story. And then they feel compelled to tell me what they've gone through. Bro, you just read back and you're like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm connected to my fans like that, and that is so important to me. You know, if I can make the world a little bit better of a place by talking about my own stuff in an honest way, then it's all worth it, man.
And then now you're going on tour in October.
I
So
am.
now you'll be able to connect directly with fans.
Directly, which is my favorite. There's a video I've got on my Insta or my TikTok or something of when I came to the States last time, and there's this little kid in the front row, and he was like, it's my birthday wish to sing with you. And my MD is a little rough. He's like, we've got the show, and it's to time and everything like that. So at the end, I said to my photographer, just bring him backstage. I want to say hello to him. He comes backstage. We sing You the Reason together. And as soon as we finish, he just bursts into tears. And I give him a cuddle. I'm like, is everything all right? And his mum's like, he's just been so dying to see you play live that this is just a bit overwhelming for him. And I'm like, that personifies just why I go on the road. Like, in one moment, you're singing your song, and everybody in that room is singing it back to you with their own personal stories. Each individual has their own story. They're all singing it back to you. In that moment, in that venue, nothing matters except us all, that one song. It's beautiful, man. It's magic.
And I think that's just the beauty of live performances in general.
Right.
Like, you just kind of lose yourself in the 75-minute set, 90-minute set, whatever it happens to be. Like, that was me Monday night. I only took like my second PTO of the year that didn't involve seeing my daughter because I saw Linkin Park.
Oh my God.
Favorite band of all time. And they were at Barclays Center. And I only saw them in like 2007. So to like channel, which by the way, my millennial knees cannot like stand on concrete anymore. So that was a little bit of a pain in the ass. My lower back is still feeling it. But to that point of like for 2 hours, nothing else mattered.
Nothing matters.
But just like, I can't remember the last show I went to where I was sweating. I'm also fatter than I was in 2007. But still, but that's the beauty of these concerts that people go to, whether it's feeling the emotionals of hearing a ballad or the upbeat stuff or whatever the situation may be.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody at my shows who've been so deep in the song at the moment and then quickly check their emails. I've just never seen it. And by the way, shout out to Linkin Park because there's been some mixed reactions on the new signing of the lady who has an incredible voice. Crazy. I think their new song is so tasty. I've listened to it like 6 times back to back already. And it's like, I just want to say, it's just Linkin Park in a slightly different way. You know, I think that, of course, Chester was incredible. He, like, that whole Hybrid Theory album was one of my favorites. It's my whole childhood. It's the same thing. Meteora, loved it. And I love Chester's voice, but she is incredible. Her vocals with... I just shout out to them. But yeah, man, this is why we do it. This is why we perform live. This is why it's my favorite thing to do.
So, Christmas music.
Yeah.
There's no
Linkin
easy way
Park,
to like
Christmas music.
Yeah, there's. You know what it is? We're not even in October.
Yeah,
so we're gonna talk about Christmas because you have Chris. How did that come about for you to be like, hey, dog, we're gonna make some Christmas tunes right now?
I never thought that I would because I've always associated Christmas with cheese. You know, not actual cheddar. I'm talking like cheesiness,
cheesy, corny, easiness.
Right, yeah. You know, like, and I never thought that I would be able to lend my voice to it. And I thought if I did, maybe I'm gonna get like pigeonholed as like the Christmas guy. So I stayed clear of it for a while. But then I was just like, you just take more risks as you get older. I just think especially in this business, like I have established my voice. I feel like I have a lane in the music industry, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going away anytime soon. So, like, I'm trying to, like, evolve and push out and see where my boundaries are at. And if they are there, trying to skip over them. Christmas is one of those things, man. I had to, sooner or later, had to do it. And now I've opened Pandora's box. That's it now, every year.
It worked out well for Michael Bublé, guys.
Right, exactly. Mariah does not get upset about Christmas.
Exactly. So you have the tour coming up starting in October here in America. What can we expect from you in 2025 and beyond?
Bro, I have no idea. You know, 2024, I remember at the beginning of the year, my manager sat in the room. He said to me, it's going to be a quiet year for you. He's like, we've got one show in London, but it's going to be a quiet year. So far, I've not stopped touring in 9 months. I've been on tour with Ed Sheeran in stadiums for 6 months. I have had my song in a Garfield movie. I've met 2 Marvel Chris's, Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth. I have had like the most amazing feedback and pre-saves and things from all of my songs on this album so far. And we're heading towards Christmas with another tour in America with a Christmas song with another artist, which I can't say too much about, and more on the horizon. So for me, if that's a quiet year, I have no idea what 25 is going to be like. All I know is that I am loving life at the minute. I love what I do. I love the team I've got around me. The world is my oyster, bro.
I love that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much. And we can't leave it this long next time. Because if I leave it another like 4 or 5 years, your beard could be trailing on the floor, bro.
That's a good point.
And I need to just make sure that I'm here to give you a little bit of manscaping.
But it worked for ZZ Top as well.
That's true.
And Rick Rubin, super producer Rick Rubin.
That's true, yeah.
So maybe I could. I just want to get into their tax bracket. That's all I care about. That's it. If I can get into ZZ Top's tax bracket,
then you're winning.
Me and my family are going to be quite swell. But one more time, Calum Scott, appreciate you stopping by. Bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
Z100.